For example, they were looking at the Soviet Union, as I mentioned, they were looking at all this farm collectivization, which was finally defeated by the Charan Singhs. Jawaharlal Nehru at one point was pushing it. And they were looking at the Soviet Union, they were saying, well, these are these enemies called the kulaks, and the kulaks are being killed. And, they are the reactionary forces. So there was an element of, you were trying to ride on two horses like Ajay Devgan in a movie, right? You were trying to ride on socialist
motorbikes.
Two motorbikes, socialist communism and some kind of universal adult franchise democracy, which required the right amount of demagoguery. And I think they realized that what happened is, what Pranab Bardhan, who's not a right-leaning economist, he calls the dictatorship of the salariat, of the unions. And as probably nobody knows better than in India about the labor laws than Manish himself, that this created a small aristocracy of factory workers, often in public sector units, who in the name of the poor said, let us not remove these restrictions. And there's just nobody really to argue against them. So I think it just took time, because even the Swatantra forces, while they were very good in as Rajiv mentioned about Rajaji and all that, but they had a lot of royal and quasi-feudal forces which joined them. And therefore, it was very easy for Indira Gandhi to discredit them in a public kind of slanging match. And there was really no kind of opinion which could stand up in the heat and battle of electoral politics. And which is why it's not surprising that most countries that got rich became democratic later on. We've chosen the path of being democratic first. Remember, Switzerland did not have women voting in federal elections till 1971. We gave that in 1947. The first elections happened in 51, 52. So I personally think Rajiv thinks we made the right decision overall, but it had its costs.